That day, Emily asked to leave work early. She wasn't feeling well. Her heart was pounding, and she was suddenly overwhelmed by an inexplicable anxiety. Rushing home, Emily realized her son Ethan hadn't returned from school yet, despite it being exactly 3 hours p.m. He was supposed to have been home 2 hours earlier since he attended morning classes. Deciding to head towards the school, Emily figured Ethan might be playing with friends or had stopped by the corner store. However, neither scenario proved true. He wasn't at the store nor any of the nearby parks. Inside the school, she sought out Ethan's teacher. "Hi, Emily," Ethan's teacher greeted her. "I was just about to call you. Why wasn't Ethan in school today? Is he sick? Why wasn't he here?" Emily's face broke out in a cold sweat, and her legs felt weak. She covered her face with her hands in fear. "Oh no, Tom, this can't be happening. Ethan came to school this morning. I personally walked him to the playground," she exclaimed. "But where could he have gone? This is a nightmare. We need to call the police." After contacting the police and organizing a search party, Emily gathered the courage to dial David's ex-husband's number. Despite their separation 6 months ago and the recent divorce, she knew this was a matter of their son's life, so she pushed past her reluctance. David finally answered. "I can't talk now, I'm in a meeting," David replied. "Ethan is missing," Emily blurted out. "What are you talking about? He probably skipped school, went to the movies with his friends. He'll be back. Stop freaking out. Anyway, I don't have time. Talk to you later." A police officer arrived and questioned Emily, prompting her to file a missing child report. The search party soon joined in, scouring the schoolyard, nearby parks, and reaching out to Ethan's friends. But there was no sign of him. They even checked the shopping mall and movie theater to no avail. The police then decided to review the surveillance footage from the store near the school. Watching the footage, Emily's heart sank as she witnessed David putting Ethan into a car and driving away. "He's a jerk. He lied to me," Emily exclaimed. "Do you know this man?" the policeman inquired. "This is David, my ex-husband, Ethan's father," Emily confirmed. "Well, this seems like a domestic situation. Why involve the police? Sort it out with your husband, or if necessary, take legal action," the officer concluded dismissively. Emily gripped the phone and dialed her ex-husband's number once more. This time, he picked up promptly. "Miller, stop with this act. Why did you take our child? Couldn't you have let me know Ethan is with you?" she demanded. "Of course not. Our child will stay with me. I'm his father, and I have every right to keep him. You can come back and live with us, just like before, the whole family," David replied calmly. "Are you joking? The whole family can never live together again. You betrayed our family. You caused me to miscarry. And now, how can you have the audacity to suggest such a thing? I want Ethan back. He shouldn't miss school because of your whims," Emily retorted, her voice shaking with anger and sadness. "I've made my position clear. You can't have Ethan unless you come back to me. You know I have connections. I'll take him to another city or even another country," David threatened. "You're out of your mind. I'll never forgive you, and I'll never return to you," Emily declared firmly. "Then forget about the child. Goodbye," David hung up. Emily sank onto a chair, tears streaming down her face. She knew David's determination was relentless, and he would stop at nothing to get what he wanted. 2 weeks went by, but there was still no sign of Ethan. Emily visited all of David's relatives, but none of them knew his whereabouts. Desperate, Emily turned to David's profile on Ursat's social media site, like Facebook. There, she saw new photos posted yesterday, showing David with a child standing by a large aquarium with a giant shark. "That's the Georgia Aquarium in Atlanta," she exclaimed, realization dawning on her. How did I not recognize it before? They had visited the aquarium last year during their family vacation, and Ethan had loved it. Emily grabbed her car keys, stuffed her wallet and phone into her bag, locked the apartment, and hurried out to her car. It took over 5 hours to drive from Richmond, Virginia, where Emily resided, to Atlanta, Georgia. Yet, the time on the road seemed to pass swiftly as thoughts raced through her mind. She contemplated where her ex-husband and son might have settled. Recalling their past vacations, she remembered the Poseidon Hotel as a frequent choice. Could David have chosen it again? With determination, she swiftly located the hotel's address and made her way there. Parking her car in a nearby lot, Emily entered the hotel. The receptionist recognized her and informed her that David and Ethan were staying in a suite on the second floor. Quietly ascending the stairs, Emily paused, pressing her ear against the door. "Daddy, I want some of that shawarma we had in the park today." Ethan's voice echoed through the door. "Sure, son. I'll go get you some shawarma. Chicken or beef? You stay here. I'll be right back," David replied. Stepping back, Emily concealed herself behind the staircase door as David passed by, oblivious to her presence. As soon as he descended the stairs, Emily seized the opportunity. Ethan's face lit up with joy upon seeing his mother. He hugged her tightly, expressing his longing. "Oh, Mom, I missed you so much. Are you mad that I left?" "Daddy told me to turn off my phone," Ethan confessed. "I missed you too, sweetheart. Can we go home?" Emily whispered. "What about Daddy? Won't he be angry?" Ethan worriedly inquired. "Daddy will be okay, don't worry," Emily assured him. Emily swiftly took Ethan's hand and led him out of the hotel to the waiting car. Speeding away, she noticed David at the nearest crosswalk, attempting to intercept them. Ignoring his gestures and the flood of threatening messages that followed, Emily focused solely on driving, accelerating away from the city. As they left the city behind on the highway, Emily's racing heart began to steady, a sense of relief washing over her. 2 hours on the road had worn out Ethan, prompting him to request a snack. Emily pulled into a gas station, where she began refueling while taking Ethan to the convenience store. After grabbing a couple of hot dogs and some sodas, they made their way towards the exit. However, David's arrival at the gas station caught Emily's eye through the window. Quickly, she ushered Ethan to the restroom. As soon as David headed to the cashier, Emily seized the opportunity and hurried Ethan outside to the car. Starting the engine, she quickly merged onto the interstate highway. David, noticing their departure, bolted out of the convenience store in hot pursuit. Despite his efforts, the aging Honda they were in maintained a significant distance from David's car. Suddenly, a large semi-truck emerged from around a bend, blocking David's path. Unable to brake in time, he collided with it at high speed. Emily pulled the car over onto the shoulder and got out. The mangled hood of David's Audi resembled crumpled aluminum foil, shards of glass scattered across the asphalt. With trembling hands, Emily dialed 911 and reported the accident. Approaching David's car cautiously, she tried the door, finding it unlocked to her surprise. David sat inside, bloodied and disoriented. Emily helped him out of the car, and they settled on the grass a few meters away. Suddenly, the car erupted in flames, engulfing it like a bonfire. David clung to Emily, tears streaming down his face. "Why did you save me?" he whispered. "Because you're Ethan's father," Emily replied gravely. At that moment, the ambulance and fire trucks arrived. They treated David, placing him on a stretcher and providing medical attention. At the hospital, the medical staff informed Emily that David had sustained a concussion and needed stitches for several cuts on his hands and face. Treatment would likely cost several $1,000s, but Emily and Ethan arrived at the hospital the next day to pick him up. An hour later, they were allowed into his room. Emily placed groceries on the nightstand, and Ethan embraced his father. "Daddy, you'll be better soon, right?" Ethan said hopefully. "Of course, son, no worries," David reassured him. "Forgive me for taking Ethan," David said softly. I thought you could come back, and we could be a family again. That's not possible anymore. You have to accept that, Emily replied firmly. After a brief hospital stay, Emily and Ethan returned home. The following day, Emily took Ethan to her mother's house and then visited David. When he saw her, a smile spread across his face. I brought you some chicken noodle soup. It'll help you recover, Emily said, offering the container. David took Emily's hand and held it close to his chest. Thank you for coming. I wasn't sure you would. David, we need to handle this like mature adults. Our fighting hurts Ethan. He needs a stable and peaceful environment to grow up in. Please, let him live with me, Emily pleaded. Come back. Give our family another chance. I won't be reckless again. I ended things with Olivia, and all that infidelity is in the past. I realized I only love you, David pleaded. I can't, David. And it's not just because you cheated. You know how much I wanted another child. I was so happy when we found out I was pregnant. But what you don't know is why I miscarried. It's time you knew. You infected me with something, Emily confessed, her voice filled with sorrow. There were signs when you returned from your business trip to Knoxville. I found a receipt from a venereologist clinic in your jacket. You hid it, but it told the truth. Our child died because of it, a boy. Ethan could have had a brother, but you took that away. I was almost 6 months pregnant. The doctors said my chances of having children were very low. That entire time was a nightmare, and I'll never forget it. 2 weeks later, David was discharged from the hospital. Ethan saw his father every weekend and received gifts from him. A couple of months later, David invited Emily and Ethan to visit him. To Emily's surprise, their apartment was decorated and filled with friends and relatives, and a table was set for a surprise party. Come in, Emily, David announced sincerely. Yesterday was your birthday, but things were hectic, so I couldn't celebrate then. Let's do it today. And here's your gift. David placed a set of keys in Emily's hand. What's this for? Emily asked, surprised. It's the keys to your and Ethan's new 2-bedroom apartment. It's located downtown, close to your work. No more traffic jams for you, David explained. Wow, Emily exclaimed. This is a very generous gift, David. I wanted to do something special for you before I head out, David replied. You're leaving? Where to? Emily inquired. I'm going to Turkey. I've been offered the CEO position at a Russian-Turkish construction company. So, consider this our goodbye party, David explained. The next day, David flew to Atlanta, Georgia. Emily and Ethan moved into their new apartment and adopted a white Labrador retriever into their family. While walking the dog one day, Emily met a man named Alexander. 6 months later, they got married. I hope you enjoyed this story. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more awesome stories in the future. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey, and we'll see you next video.